Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? It's Friday here on the Casa and the network. He is the Renegade. I am the Meech. We are the Dads. Always on wrestling. But it's Friday, which is odd that we're live on a Friday again. And we're supposed to be doing a top 10 list, but let's be honest. Ain't none of us had time for that shit.
Yeah, it's been a chaotic couple of weeks here across the multiverse of media.
It has.
You know, like we said on our impromptu car video the other day.
Yes.
You know, supposed to be doing a top 10 of Heatwave.
Yes, very much so.
ECW Heatwave 2000, not, heat waves throughout the United States, because it's 103 degrees in Victorville right now.
Because number one to be right now, because it's hotter than shit. Inappropriate. Anyway,
due to priorities over passions, as the great Noah Foster loves to tout.
Yes.
I haven't had the time to go through and watch the 7 years of ECW Heatwave shows.
No.
Jeff hasn't been able to go through and watch the 7 years of Heatwave shows.
No.
So rather than haphazardly throwing together a list, a joint list at that, just to cop out.
Yeah, very much so.
We decided we're going to just table that topic until next year.
Yes, sir.
Do it around the same time, July, maybe August, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But we wanted to give you guys something. We didn't want to leave you guys hanging. You guys were looking forward to seeing us today. So it was my idea to do an episode of Ask the Dads.
Yes, sir.
Something we haven't done for a while.
No. It's good, and especially since there was no talk wrestling this week, despite it being planned and replanned a couple different times. It just, figure rather than just put my mean mug out there for an hour, let's ask. I have to ask both of us.
Yes. And like I posted in the chat rooms, feel free to ask your questions. If it's a good one, we'll answer it. And if you want to make sure we answer it, super chat. It's as simple as that.
Really is. It's an extra, I think, 2 button pushes to add that dollar amount onto it at the end of the day. So, but we digress because we're not going to be money horn on a Friday. We're going to try anyway.
I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah,
we need the donations, of course. That's how we
always
maintain our content. That's how we
go.
That's how we roll. We can only continue to provide content for you, upgrade our internet systems, upgrade our technologies, if you guys super chat and donate to us. So
we carry on because of viewers like you, or whatever. That was a combination of PBS and NBC, but I'll go ahead and keep running with that. So I actually get the PBS theme background in my head because I don't know if they have one. So
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either. And just the whole it just works because you're learning as we say this. The more you know. The fact of the matter is you're learning that we broke ass. And you don't need any of that because we broke ass as it is. But I just like the chime anyway. The peacock chime is iconic. So why not? And yes, big weekend coming up. TNA / Impact Wrestling, 21 years just. Oh, they'll never make
Really?
it. Oh, they'll never survive the Hogan era. Oh, they'll never they'll never get past getting booted off Spike. Oh, shut the hell up with your nonsense. They go in 21 years strong. That company is legal enough to drink now, which is scary in of itself. Especially after party I have with the Impact roster. I don't think it should be drinking at this point.
Probably not.
Prime time, right, baby? Tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon for us West Coast folk, because that's how we roll in the afternoons on a Saturday when Impact's on. Noah and I believe James will be on the call with him. If not, I'm sure I'll be able to tag in if necessary. But man, I think about people like Frankie Kazarian who weren't there at the very beginning of Impact Wrestling in the TNA days, but he is such a easily identified personality with that brand, with that company. And he's still there. He's back there. Right? Yeah. So it's awesome to see that he has a match with Tracy there, who I love. Every time you love seeing Tracy. It's always good to see her and have her pop up. And if Alicia Edwards gets too involved in Eddie's match, Tracy will go Miss Brooks and whoop that ass on somebody. So it's good to see stuff like that. It's good to see the world title being defended by such a deserving guy like Alex Shelley against a guy who, he blocked me, but such a deserving number one contender like Nick Aldis, who, for better or worse, really carried that company through what could have been a really bad, dark time with the departure of AJ Styles.
Yes.
My goodness, just tremendous. So just a good, solid card, top to bottom. We'll get more into it. Noah and them got into it earlier on Simply Prediction. I think they're on right now, as a matter of fact.
They are actually live right now. As the trailer was playing, I popped into the chat room over there real quick in order to ruffle Noah's feathers just a little bit, because today is the birthday of one of the founders of TNA.
Oh, yes. The founder. Ha-ha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I said one of, because I count his father with him, so
Right, but his whole nickname on TNA television
was the founders of TNA.
Right. But they always call him the founder.
I had to make sure I threw that into the chat room over there. Absolutely. We're predicting Slammiversary right now.
And I loved your tweet about Jeff today. I was going to retweet it. I got lost on my own thought.
That's basically what I put in there. I just copied it and reposted it in there. It was so long I had to split it into two, but
Yeah. Just
to go back later, watch the Simply Predicting he's doing and watch his reaction when it pops up.
Yeah.
It's going to be, to take a phrase from a WWE tag team, it's going to be priceless.
Yes, exactly. It's always best to get Noah's Ruffles Feather with more than 280 characters to work with, but it worked on Twitter, so it was okay. Not on YouTube, but yeah, I just
and on Twitter, I wasn't even doing it to ruffle Noah's feathers. I was doing it to ruffle G's, because he had quote tweeted somebody's post about happy birthday to Jeff Jarrett.
Yes.
And he had replied to it, was like, no, screw Jeff Jarrett.
Oh.
And I was like, hey, happy birthday too. And I started listing off all of his.
That's right.
And I was like, that's right.
That's right.
He great.
Before Kenny Omega was a belt collector, granted, his were all at the same time. Not going to lie about that. Jeff Jarrett was winning every damn title you could possibly win in every federation he worked in, except the WWF Championship, which I still say probably should have been a trigger that should have been pulled at least once with Jeff.
Agree.
Should have been WWF champion at least once. That heel character, especially the NI Great era, the early Double J. Man, that guy.
I don't know about that guy.
No. Hear me out.
That guy. Go ahead. I'll let you make your point, then I'm a counterpoint.
Yeah. So, and again, I'm going to totally ride the coattails of another podcast personality, the Pod Father, if you will.
Yes, of course you will.
But I have a perfectly valid reason for it at this juncture. At the point that Jeff Jarrett was Double J, Conrad was in between his stints as a fan. Like, he had just fallen off of wrestling. He turned on that television, saw that character, and it was instant heat. Conrad wanted nothing more than to see the Click and the Bretts and the faces of the WWF just lay that stupid cowboy and his dumbass roadie to bed. Mm-hmm. And he had that kind of heat because it was so against wrestling fans' desires. He wasn't in the WWF to be the WWF champion. He was in the WWF to parlay that success into a country music career. What a shitty thing to do, to take this fan base and go, I don't really need you guys. I just want to springboard off of this and get landed in Nashville and do what I want to do with my life, because ain't I great at everything I do anyway? Like, man, what a cocky dick. I realize I used this one for the penis twice, but that's okay. We'll go with it. Just so good. And I felt that Double J should have been champion. I will, if your counterpoint is what I think it's going to be, I will say that Don't Piss Me Off Jeff definitely deserved the run as WWE champion more than country singer Double J. But at any juncture of his career, the fact that Jeff Jarrett was only not a world champion in the WWF, but everywhere else, despite only being the booker really in one place that he won the championship in, is just indicative of how much talent was on the WWF roster at that point, but also how talented Jeff Jarrett was wherever he went, despite not being able to draw a dime after using 100-something chair shots or guitar swings.
Yeah. So. Yeah. My counterpoint is definitely the Don't Piss Me Off era Jarrett. And, you know, WWE, we've discovered over the years, is fond of playing the sympathy card.
Yes.
They should have pulled the trigger on him when Owen died.
Well, they did.
Not with the world title.
No, but they
should have pulled the trigger with him when Owen died. Everybody would have been behind him if they had pulled that trigger. Just like they did when Ray won the Rumble and the title after Eddie. Just like how they made Angle champion in September of 2001, right after 9/11, because we needed an American hero. You just had the man that was teaming with him unceremoniously pass away from a stunt he didn't need to do in the first place.
Correct.
He goes out there, he challenges. I believe Austin was champion at the time. The man who got his neck broken by the man who just passed.
Right.
You've got money right there.
No.
And Jarrett's not going to be a long-term champion because you just acknowledged and admitted all the talent that was on the roster right then.
Yep.
But and then he could have lost it to Hunter.
Yeah. I think that they gave the IC to him because Owen was supposed to win the title as the Blue Blazer. Right, that was the whole point of that. So it wasn't a difficult redirect. You have to remember that the title was such a vital part of the Austin McMahon saga. Because at the end of the day, McMahon's issue with McMahon's issue with Austin was he just didn't want Austin to be the WWE champion. He hated him so much and didn't think he represented the core value of what a WWE champion should be, that he was willing to do anything, including sacrifice his own daughter to the Undertaker, to get the title off of Austin. I just don't know. Again, hindsight booking is very easy, almost as easy as booking it, just nowhere near as difficult as financing it, because we can't finance it now. It's too late at this point. I don't know if hot-shotting a championship run for Jeff in the midst of what was such a banger of a story, even with the Ministry of Darkness being what it became with the corporate ministry, the whole Austin and the McMahons and Undertaker thing, with The Rock and Triple H being a subplot, but a damn good subplot at that. I just don't know where Jarrett, unfortunately, because talented as Jeff, I don't know where he would have fit into that with a hot shot, let's give him a run with the world title thing, because the entirety of it was wrapped around the title. You had Austin and Undertaker going at it. Triple H was nipping at the heels of whoever was champion, which led to SummerSlam in the day after that.
But much like we were discussing the other evening when you were over here, Jinder Mahal, Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett could have very easily been one of those guys, if even for a cup of coffee in that moment.
See, and I intended to make that point about Ron, or make this point about Ron and Mick right now when we were talking the other day, but then we had the pickup happen. Ron being the champion from August until December of 92. Keep in mind, WCW was booked where it was booked into, which was damn near oblivion by the time Simmons got the championship. Jinder, I do agree with your point being made the other day with you and I talking that Jinder, in theory, got the international market to tune in, especially the people over there in that part of the world that his character is billed as from at the time, the whole the Punjabi area, all the things that are going on over there. I don't disagree with either decision. I just think that they were made in the different eras for completely different reasons. From what I came to understand, in addition to Bill Watts, sorry to be graphic, but having a hard on for the Black Champions, Vader had been running like a machine. And when he finally got the title from Sting the month before, he was already starting to wear down. He needed a break from carrying the load before he got it back. And really, because you think about it, when he beat Simmons at the end of 92, he was champion for, other than I think 3 weeks, the entirety of not 3 days, a couple of days in March. He was the WWE World Champion for the entire 1993 up until Starrcade, which was, I think, the 27th of December that year. I could be off by the day, a couple of days or so. Just Jeff, it's timing is everything in this industry, in this life, and in wrestling and life, as another podcast on that network says, context is king. And I think different eras taken into context even now reflect that. As much as I disliked Jinder being WWE champion, I don't think it did anything for the championship or even the company branding where they were trying to do, because it didn't pick up a whole hell of a lot over there. I can see the reasoning behind both Simmons and Jinder being made the champions when they were. And plus, without Jeff being your Continental Champion, we don't get the misogynistic Jeff Jarrett that started attacking right, left, and right, which led to Joni becoming the first and still only female Continental Champion. Again, it's very easy to hop in the DeLorean, go back in time, and pull one thread and see what happens. Right, Marty? Just watch Back to the Future 2 and see how well thread pulling goes for you. Or even the first one, even. It's a cool debate topic, and I don't disagree that Jeff Jarrett shouldn't have been WWE champion. He very much should have been. I think it would have been, I don't want to say easier, because it sounds like I'm trying to give the WWF a cop out in hindsight, booking, but I think that Double J, the country singer, between 1994 and 1996 would have been an easier transition to be the champion. Is where I was kind of trying to go with it. I just couldn't make it happen until the break again right there. Even when he first came back, before he evolved into Don't Piss Me Off Jarrett, he tried to do this, I'm just being Jeff Jarrett. I'm not going to be a country singer. I'm not going to be a pajama wearing looking idiot. But then he got the second of the NWA and WWF storyline, and that just, bye. So he needed that Don't Piss Me Off.
And then he was singing with Sawyer Brown.
Which, that's still one of my favorite memories of Sawyer Brown or Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good shit. Good shit.
Good shit, pal.
It like I played that. We were driving, Dad and I were driving, I think up here to drop Dylan off at one point, and Sawyer Brown came on. I'm like, I gotta play you something. Hang on a second. And he goes, "Is this real?" I said, "This actually happened." And it turns out I was wrong all these years. Jeff is actually singing on that track. I thought it was, I forget the Sawyer Brown lead singer's nickname. Forgive me if you're watching, which
Mark.
Mark. Yeah.
Mark Miller, I think.
Mark Miller sounds right. It sounds like Mark Miller when you hear Jeff Jarrett, singing on the audio track, but no, it was Jeff. He just got his voice enough where it worked.
Nice.
And it's like, yeah, could he carry a country music career? Of course not. Like, it wasn't gonna happen. The Hall of Fame sing along of Baby Night proves that, because it was a hot mess. Brian, of course, did well because it's his song, but anyway, we went way off into the weeds for 20 minutes about Jeff Jarrett. I actually like that. I love it.
We do have some questions that are coming in. I mean,
yeah, it's
some of these, like Lance, I don't know how deep we can get into some of these that you're asking because it's like they're just so general.
Yeah. They're very
Like,
broad based.
I'm not even going to lie. I actually had to check Wiki while Jeff was talking. I didn't think Keenan had done 10 movies.
Right. Yeah. But he has. It's crazy.
He's done more than 10. I mean, don't
Right.
get me wrong. I love me some Keenan, but I didn't realize he had done 10 movies. You know, I knew the Two Mighty Ducks. I knew Good Burger, Fat Albert.
Yeah.
And like maybe one or two others is like.
Yeah. Yeah. Off the top of my head, I couldn't name Kenan Thompson's movies past what you just said.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not a shot on Kenan. I love Kenan too. I am so glad he's now got that record for as long as enough tenure, because dude has been working his ass off for decades now at 30 Rock. So good for him.
Yeah.
And man, it's like we Disney movie / Ducks fans had him before anybody else did. So there you go.
Yes.
Um,
as far as our favorite movies, Back to the Future for this gentleman.
Absolutely. The first one, but I love the trilogy. But as far as one, narrow it down, Back to the Future, without a doubt.
My all-time favorite is Tombstone.
Yes. Both of those are so good. And yes, Back to the Future gets a lot of love now, even now. Tombstone doesn't get near enough love like it should have gotten when it came out. And I don't think enough people. It did get some good critical praise. It did get some good buzz, but people have just kind of let that one kind of slip into their retro memory, like their not easily accessible drive file in the back of their head. Like it's there, but you know, I'm not going to put it out there and watch it every day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bummer, because that's a solid cast and a damn good story.
Casino is another one for me.
Casino's good. Yeah. I mean,
Gangs of New York is another one for me.
Yes.
The Star Wars saga.
Yeah, it's
and I'm not closed-minded like some practicing Jedi. I love the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I love the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
I love the sequel trilogy.
Yep.
I love the Ewok movies.
Yep.
I love the holiday special. I love Rogue One. The only one I get touchy on is Solo.
Yeah, Solo's rough.
Even still, I'll watch it.
Yep.
I love them all.
It's in the May marathon every year when I watch those movies, because it is part of it, whether we like it or not. It's Solo's one of those that it should have been done sooner. Or you can look at the other way. It should have been done once we knew we could de-age somebody through CGI.
Yeah.
And let Harrison do it. Because I'm sure that guy's a wonderful actor. I ain't never seen anything else that I know of right off the top of my head. But Han Solo is Harrison Ford. Yeah. Harrison Ford is Han Solo. Period. That's the tweet, if you will. And if they were going to do something like that and not have Harrison, and if he doesn't want to do it, that's fine. Then yeah, I don't think it should have been done at all without at least somebody.
At the very least, frame the movie and have Han as Harrison at the beginning and the ending.
Yeah.
And he's kind of telling somebody his origin story.
Hell,
you know, that way you kind of have it make a little bit more sense. And Han Harrison is there, you know, a smuggler and a Wookiee walk up to a bar.
Yeah.
You know, they start talking to somebody at the bar, drinking some blue milk.
Han
starts telling his story.
Yeah.
We flash back and we see the events of Solo.
Yeah.
You've still got Harrison there. I bet you it does much better response.
I think, I forget who said it this way. It may have been you in a previous discussion, off or on air. I would have framed it within the context of Force Awakens. As he's getting, with all due respect to the heat of the situation, as he's getting shanked by Kylo at the end there, he starts thinking back. And that's when we get into it. And the movie ends not necessarily the same way the scene ended with Kylo where he falls off the catwalk or whatever, but that should have been the framing device. Kind of like he's having his life flash before his eyes, and we've seen the entirety of his life that we know of after he booked the cargo run for Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. Everything before that was all a mystery. So that's how we get the movie. And he's reflecting on it as he's thinking about his life and the decision he made, because having watched that movie back a few times now, I know now that Han went up there to that catwalk knowing he was going to be killed. He had to sacrifice himself to let Ben get to that point. So reflecting on the decision, and then, here's how we got here. Boom.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rogue One is the complete opposite. Just everything it needed to be. It's a little long, but not too long that it's not doable.
Right.
And it does end the way it should end, with Princess Leia. God bless the technology to get Carrie in there, and having it end with her saying the word hope, which goes into A New Hope.
Yeah,
I've seen those YouTube videos that they transition it. It's just beautiful.
Yes.
But yeah, Star Wars is definitely on my list. Star Trek, the movies are on my list, but Star Trek, the TV shows, are more of my favorites than the movies. The movies are great. Some of them are. I would pass on them if they weren't so few of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that's what it is. But
well, that's actually a decent segue to his other question. He loves saying that he loves that 70s show. Friends and Martin are his favorite sitcoms. What are ours?
I love all three of those shows personally. I think Martin. I'm glad HBO or Max did a Martin reunion, because that show got just lost in the syndication / new TV era sauce. Man, that show was goddamn good. I liked it.
There was also the drama between Martin and Tisha that came out post show.
Yeah,
that's part of what kind of shoved it down there.
Right, but they made nice, which is why they were on the special together. So that was good.
Right. But I mean, that's part of why it kind of got lost there for a while.
Yeah. I think
that
also the death
show I never really watched.
Yeah.
I did the first, maybe second season.
Yeah.
Not 27 that followed it.
Only 8.
Freaking going like Law and Order and shit.
Hey, the Law and Order shows are damn good though. Yeah, they get a little repetitive, especially. I mean, they're focused in on one unit or one part of the criminal justice system, per show. So they're going to be pretty narrowly focused on each one of those episodes. But it's the Law and Order franchise is not one I'm going to sit there and just marathon, because you'll be there forever. But
forever
when you're surfing around trying to find something that you're not, if you have nothing to do, one pops up, it's like, this one looks interesting. I hate catching the tail ends of ones as you're getting ready to watch Raw. It's like, God damn, I want to go back and watch what happened now, because the ending was so good. It's a pain in the ass. Sitcoms for me.
I have always been a TGIF guy.
Absolutely.
Full House, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers, Step by Step.
Boy Meets World.
I never really watched that one. I know you.
Really?
I saw a little bit of it. I watched more of Girl Meets World than I did Boy Meets World.
Well, I mean that's fair. Our kids did that to us, I think, more than anything else.
And even though it wasn't TGIF, I'll lump Saved by the Bell in with that.
Fair
grouping too.
Absolutely.
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains was so good.
I know you were not a big Alan Thicke fan, but I wanted to be Jeremy Miller, Ben Seaver so bad. I loved that character.
I didn't become an Alan Thicke disliker until much long after the series was already over.
Okay.
I didn't meet Alan until, God, when was that? I think it was Shania Twain's concert at the Hollywood Bowl. I want to say it was 2000. I met him and encountered him the first time. There were two. And both times he was a grade A prick, and I don't want to speak over the dead too much, but it is what it is. But no, the show was amazing. Even when they jumped that Leo shark, it was still a good show.
Even some of the ones that were only like in syndication, Small Wonder,
Out
of This World, Alf.
People don't remember Out of This World, and it bugs me they don't remember Out of This World. because I thoroughly enjoyed that show.
Identity.
Hell yeah, dude. I loved that show.
That was how I met Jerry O'Connell.
Right?
A lot of people met him from Stand By Me.
Which is fine.
That's great. I didn't see Stand By Me, truth be told, and if the door is open, my girlfriend hears it, I'm probably going to get a look. I still haven't seen Stand By Me.
I haven't either, brother. Don't worry about it. We're good.
But my secret identity is how I met Jerry O'Connell.
Fair. Yeah,
everybody got on the whole sliders, scream, kick, and it was like, no. Go watch this.
Yeah. Out of This World has this cast that you don't realize how awesome a cast you're watching until it's like, oh wait, Burt Reynolds is the voice of Troy. Wait, what the shit? Like you don't even think about that because you never see his face.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper was
okay. Cooper was good until like the last season.
Yeah,
the last season was kind of rough. But there's another good one, and people they don't talk about it now. Cosby Show, the original Cosby Show with Bill and Felicia Rashad and Malcolm Jamal Warner.
I watched that either.
See, I didn't either until later because by the time I started really becoming a realized person, Cosby was ending his run. The first one, anyway. But that show is so damn good. And without the Cosby Show being the Cosby Show, we don't get Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which is one of my favorite things ever in the history of television.
Yes. And I can't really say more modern anymore because the show's damn 20 years old, but Reba
was good. Yes. Reba was good. You notice, folks, we're not seeing a whole lot of modern sitcoms. There's a reason for that.
Because number one, we don't watch too much modern television. And number two, the stuff we do is more drama. American Dreams, Heroes, Once Upon a Time.
Yes, I'm watching that shit again right now. But I will say, it's these shows that allowed us to get a better understanding of the world around us, which is why I thought Boy Meets World was so pivotal. And Home Improvement just now got added to Disney Plus. We talked about this the other day. I have been like this for years. When I get a raw guttural emotion, it's like it's a guy thing. I grunt like Tim. I always have. And even sitcoms that we love still have moments like this that just gut your insides like a damn tauntaun in Empire Strikes Back. Like, my goodness. That scene, especially now with both of us being a father ourselves,
yes,
it's damn near baby mind level. No, turn it off. Can't do it. It is.
And then to sit here and think that Uncle Phil is the voice of the Shredder and Ninja Turtles. And then you just can't even watch it anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's so crazy how I think it's funny to me that a lot of our young lives were defined by the TV shows we watched, including professional wrestling. But now it's just we've all danced around this. We've done along that there's no original anything anymore. And I think that's true to a certain extent. But everything we're talking about here is readily available on one platform or another. So we don't have to not watch these things anymore. We're having a bad day. We're having one of those just like, F everything and piss on this or whatever. You fire a subscription service, go watch Home Improvement, go watch a Disney movie, go watch, anything. Keenan and Kel. Only I think just now is getting that retroactive pat on the back because that show was damn good when it was on, and those two guys are so underrated. I think even now, as good as Kenan Thompson is, as much as he's becoming a prolific personality on television and he's getting that level of like Strahan and Secrets where he's on every damn thing, he's still even now underrated for how good he really is, and that's criminal shit right there. And Kel unfortunately did not get to Keenan's level as far as the success.
Which is weird because everybody expected him to be the breakout star.
They did. They 100% did. They did. He was in Mystery Men.
He made everything. He was what made all that.
Yep.
He was what made Kenan and Kel.
Yep.
He's what made Good Burger.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't get through my.
Then you got to Mystery Men, and I think the shine kind of rubbed off on
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know if it was because of the rest of the cast, because Paul Rubens hadn't exactly come back into the mainstream limelight at that point, and here's Kel and Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
William H. Macy was hot, but hadn't really broken through that next level yet.
Right.
Same with Ben Stiller. He was kind of bubbling under.
Yeah.
Hadn't really shot up yet. Like if that movie had been made 5 years later,
right,
it was a different story.
Absolutely.
Because here's this ragtag superhero movie of superheroes that nobody has any familiarity with, and like we haven't even hit the X-Men and Spider-Man stride.
No.
I think that's kind of what did it.
Yeah. Mystery Men came out right after. I think it was right after. Oh, not right after, but Batman and Robin had been what it was.
Yeah, and Blade had come out.
And Blade had come out, which, granted, didn't hit the way that the studios thought it would, which I happen to like Blade personally. I'm not a big Wesley Snipes person as a rule, but I did enjoy that movie, and I mildly enjoyed the sequels. But that and Mystery Men fell into an era that was post Batman and Robin, and like you said, they hadn't made the X-Men movie, the first one with Patrick and Ian and Famke and everybody, and they hadn't rebooted Superman or Batman yet, and Spider-Man hadn't become a film yet either. So it was just in that little, not to be punny, but that phantom zone of just like, oh, it's a superhero movie and it's neat, but it's not something that's gonna generate a franchise, which unfortunately all those guys, the characters, became franchise generators.
Yes, big time.
And got Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was so great. Those 3 movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, I think are looked at more favorably now than they were when they were out. And I think No Way Home definitely helped, especially the Amazing ones, get reintroduced to a lot of people. And like I said, I think they're getting better acclaim. I'm not saying they're getting universal praise, because the Amazing ones aren't, for me, as good as the Tobey ones. But I think there's a bit, the MCU being what it is definitely getting the attention on the predecessors across the board. Same with the DCEU. People will shit on the DCU, which is going to become the DCU apparently, for what I'm reading in the trades. But how can you expect any of these guys now to touch Christopher Reeve, to touch Michael Keaton, and even Val Kilmer? And I'll even throw George in there because he's been kind of introduced back into this now with this multiverse shit. How can you expect these guys who are having to pick up after such good ended on such crap notes? I figure Quest for Peace was garbage. Batman and Robin was garbage, but that'd be insulting to Quest for Peace is garbage. They're both very bad movies.
I still think The Dark Knight Rises isn't all it's cracked up to be.
See, I don't either. But
a lot of people talk about how great it is, and it's like, aside from JGL, the potential as Robin at the very, very end of the movie.
Yeah, like the parting shot.
I was like, meh.
And I don't know if people.
And as good as it is, I still think Begins is too damn long.
I only give that one a little bit of a pass because they were trying to give us a proper, definitive, here's how we got here story with Bruce, which hadn't been done cinematically ever. He had just started to become, he started out his tenure as Batman when we jump into 89 and he beats those 2 thugs up, but we didn't get the story of why he's doing what he's doing other than flashbacks. And sometimes flashbacks are a good storytelling device, and they serve their purpose. They certainly did in 89. They did so even more in 95 because they were trying to explain why Bruce relates to Dick so much, why he connects with Chase so deeply, because on more than just she's in the Batman level, she knows what he's do. Okay, let me breathe. The thread of duality all throughout the Burton Schumacher saga is what makes that saga, those 4 movies. Bruce constantly battled with himself. Everybody around him constantly battled with both sides of him. Duality was so important to that, those 4 movies. And I think Burton making the decision to make the battle between Bruce Wayne and Jack Nichols, Jack Napier. It was Jack Nicholson, the actor, but I was trying to get the character in. And have that be the starting thread was so vital. And then every central character in Returns had that battle of duality. Is Oswald a person, or is Penguin a bird? Is Selina a person, or is Catwoman a feline? Is Bruce Wayne a person, or is Batman who he really is? Those were so good. We never got the Indiana Jones movies because I haven't seen any of them the whole way through.
See, I haven't seen 4 and 5.
Right.
I know I've seen Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. I can't recall for the life of me if I've seen the original Raiders.
Right.
But that's definitely something that's going to be working into Renegade's reviews
Yes.
sooner rather than later when I do my franchises month.
Yeah, I wanted so bad to get out to the El Cap and see the movie and see all the props from the previous 4. It's just finances are rich. So, but definitely want to. I'm not going to be a company show and say, yes, go see all these movies, but I regret not having seen Indy when Indy was Indy. But I am going to watch it because I definitely want to see this one because everybody keeps saying that it's a much better send off than Crystal Skull. So, which from what I hear wasn't that hard to do.
We've got quite a bit still starred here. Still no super chats coming in, unfortunately. So again, if you guys want to make sure your question gets answered, super chat, simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we don't problem taking one at a time and just going on a thread about it because it's working. Yeah. I love it.
But let's see here. Should we jump into some wrestling talk or should we stick with non-wrestling while we're on it?
I'm okay with wrestling for now. If you want to do it that way.
Well, I'm going to show this one briefly, just long enough so that we can screenshot it later because Cape Rayer has an interesting topic for us.
Okay.
Doing a list for dads of the top 10 dream matches we would love to see.
Okay, wait. Look, let me make sure we get a proper screen cap for it. Ooh. Okay. Definitely.
We did the Forbidden Door episode last year about how we would have booked a Forbidden Door.
Right.
But that's not like a straight up dream matches thing. And
right.
I almost think we ought to try and do that as an episode of Open Mic Night because I'm sure Noah and James, with as much as James loves fantasy booking,
right,
would be into that one too. So
yeah,
tomorrow, either pre or post show, depending on how everything works out with the Slammiversary coverage, Collision, and the finals of the Owen, Battle of the Belts 7. Noah's going to be watching the G1 Climax, one of the brackets. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So
definitely,
we'll see if we can try to work it in there within the next month or so on an open mic night. Okay, Cape Rayer?
Definitely discussion worthy, and I'm glad it was brought up because there are, we all kind of booked. I think we booked that Fantasy WrestleMania or whatever it was, and then we also booked a Forbidden Door card. Thank you, G. Love you for that, man.
Yes, and that's on your channel because he's a member of mine, so it doesn't have the little thing next to his name. So that's
fair.
all I know it's on your channel.
Yes, thank you, G. Much appreciated. That finally, especially with the news I'm getting this week, is definitely going to be helpful. So thank you. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely. I consider dream matches as you take so and so in their prime versus so and so in their prime. That's a dream match for me. So absolutely, we can do that. And okay. So first of all, he's going to Jersey on purpose. So let's all say a prayer and give him blessings because
while you're in Jersey, depending on where it is in correlation to the arena, go to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash.
Yes.
Go to Kevin Smith's store there and support, because I know you're a Jay and Silent Bob fan like I am.
Yes.
If you've never been, go. We used to have one out here on the West Coast. The one out there, when we had the one out here, was ran by Walter.
Oh.
And the one that was out here was ran by Steve Dave.
Nice. Okay.
I forgive me for not remembering their real names, but I think Walter still runs the one out there as manager for Kevin. But yeah, go. They have props. They've got exclusive merchandise, autographed merchandise. Plus, it's a straight up comic store. So if you're a fan, yeah. I see his comments. Ooh, Snoochie Boochies.
Is that where that phrase came from? Was Jay and Silent Bob?
Yeah, that's Jay, dude.
Dude, okay. Again.
Snooch to the nooch, Snoochie Boochies.
I'm a bad friend, so I apologize. Still haven't seen those movies.
Bro.
I heard Snoochie Boochies from freaking Mark Madden and WCW. That's how I remember Snoochie Boochies. Snoochie Boochies, Tony! Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you got to go back. Watch. I'm not going to call it the Holy Saga, but watch Clerks.
The Viewskeverse.
Chasing Amy, Dogma, Strike Back, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob reboot, Clerks 3.
Okay. From what you told me last year or earlier, whatever it was, I need to watch Clerks 3 long after because I ain't about to get all that emotional in 1 day or 2 days. I'm gonna be upset. So, but yeah. Oh, speaking of that
was definitely up there, Cape Rare, and I'm sure that'll be in one, if not both, of our matches.
Yeah, I think that, you know what? When we did, I swear I seen that exact. You know what it was? Tell you what it was. Somebody asked me, I forget who it was now, on an old Talk Wrestling. Maybe not old, but definitely since the launch of the YouTube channel 3.5 years ago now. Yeah, geez, that just hit me. About a fantasy style card. And I think that was, whether it was Iron Man or I don't remember, but Brett and Kurt was definitely on my list. So I will not watch that episode and do this cold and redo it because so many more people have been introduced into the wrestling lexicon in those 3 years that definitely deserve a spot on a dream match card. There is so much damn good talent out there right now, and I think that they need to be reflected in any sort of scenario like that.
Agreed. As far as Josh's question, have I reviewed Grease? Not yet.
Not yet.
I am saving it for the next time I do musicals or movies with one sequel.
Yeah. That is my favorite musical. And we're talking about favorites earlier. Oh, geez, look at you. Put you on the spot here, brother. The favorite of the Viewskeverse.
I was going to say, it's one of those, like, what's your favorite kid?
Right. I
can narrow it down to 3, G, and I hope that's acceptable for you out of the 8.
At least for today.
I would probably say my number 1 favorite is Dogma.
Which I've seen.
That is pretty much how I feel about religion in a nutshell.
Right.
Like, if anybody wants to know what the Renegade thinks about religion, watch Dogma.
Absolutely.
And then I'm kind of torn between Clerks 2 and Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
I always speak very highly of Chasing Amy. When we did our top 10 Disney movies, you know, that was on my list because it was a Miramax production. It was part of the Disney lexicon.
It is, yes.
You know, great chick flick as well. It was on my chick flicks list.
Yep.
It's just one of those great stories because it's your atypical chick flick, and where it's boy meets girl, boy and girl get together, boy and girl have a falling out, but instead of boy and girl getting back together, boy and girl actually stays apart.
Yep. But it's not a bad...
And it kind of breaks the stereotype.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then Clerks 2, number 1, it introduces Rosario Dawson to the franchise, so thank you.
Which is always a good thing. That's right.
And right, number 2, the argument between Dante and Randall in the jail cell very much takes me back to Stat Boy and Toad And anybody that ever
Yes,
was around
yes.
the two of them knows what that is all about. So yeah. Mallrats
Yeah.
was good too, Cape Rayer, but even
Mallrats
Kevin
was
is like, that's kind of the bottom of my own list. So
right. Yeah, yeah. Everybody has that one piece of content that they just go.
but see, the reason it's there for him is because he was forced into it. It was very much,
Yes.
it's a trap. Family Guy.
Right. Yeah.
Clerks had hit. It was hot. Universal was going to do it. So now it's major studio. It's not independent. It's got major studio budget, major studio involvement, major studio trying to change actors.
Yep.
They wanted to recast who played Jay. I think he said in an interview they wanted like Seth Green to be Jay, and it's like,
oh no,
Muse is Jay. Like you don't
no,
change that. No.
Especially that not to be freaking what's what I'm looking for superficial, but the height difference alone. Oh no.
How would you book the dream match that never happened, Taker versus Steen? And do you think that Steen would have been the one who ended the streak? No, I don't think Steen would have been the one to end the streak. And I say that because go back and look at how many times Vince was in favor of putting over the WCW people in favor of his own people. Triple H squashed Steen. Even with the new World Order's involvement, still lost. So Taker would have beat Steen hands down.
Yeah, well, okay.
How would I have booked it? I would have gone back to those vignettes that we got when it ended up being the return of The Undertaker, and then Triple H came like right out afterwards.
Yes, exactly.
And, you had those dark, creepy houses and this ominous figure just kind of walking by, and then it was the return of The Undertaker.
Yep.
Like as soon as he hit the ring, I would have had the lights go down. Lights come back up and Steen's in the middle of the ring.
Ooh, okay. You had me till the entrance. I would have played the music. I would have had the lights go down, lightning bolt.
Because you wouldn't have had, the audience wouldn't have known what the music was.
If they used the Crow music like they should have, they would have known exactly what it was.
If. Number one, if you're asking WWE to use Logic.
I understand that.
And number two, you're asking an arena full of 15,000 fans, a lot of whom were babies, if anything, during the Attitude Era.
Right.
To know what the Crow music sounds like.
Okay. That's fair. I think that
those of us that were at home watching would have popped.
Yes.
The handful of fathers and parents sprinkled throughout the audience with their kids would have had a holy shit moment.
Right.
The, as I like to call them, and you sometimes give me crap for, C-Nation era of fans that would have been overwhelming, in numbers in that arena. Who's this guy?
Maybe.
So that's why if you just cut the lights off, then have the lights come back on and he's there, then as he leaves, you can play the music and people are starting to know, okay, this music is for this guy now.
Fair.
And then when he comes out the next week to talk and explain himself, he gets that music and people have now already heard as he exited that that's his music. They know, oh, okay, this is that new old guy that they brought back. You're laughing, but you got to think in the vein of a modern era fan.
No, I agree. I still to this day think, and I question the use or the introduction of a new song for Sting when he debuted in 2014. We know WWE owns that song, the Crow song. the beautiful melodic song he used when he was that character from 97 or 96 until whatever it was. The Metallica song became a thing. But I know they own it because it was on the WWE digital platform as far as Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. I know it's there. That's why.
If you really want to just rehash something instead of doing something new, why not at least recycle Raven's theme?
Yeah.
With the bird squawking, you know?
Right. Well, see, I don't mind that if they weren't going to use the Crow theme, I don't mind the theme they used. Let me be clear on that. I just think that if they had the choice, and they may have had a licensing thing, I don't know. I don't work in WWE. I don't understand how that all works. I wasn't none of my damn business. But I think that if the choice was there, they should have gone with the classic Crow theme. But if they couldn't or flat out wouldn't, then a new theme is the best way to go, I think, for me. Because Ravens, and you have to remember something. The time period you're talking about is early 2011. There's still no network. So you're having to, if you do use the Crow theme, which to your point, people had to draw on memory. Not everybody can draw that memory because not everybody has that memory. So right. the ring lights going out and come back on is a better scenario. I just adore that song so much that I know I would have popped it home.
Right. You would have. If I remembered what it sounded like, I would have.
Right.
But, it's bad because when I think of... No, never mind. Scratch that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm having a moment here.
No, you're good. As far as the match, like you said, there's a couple different ways I can go with this. And the first thing I thought of when you read it off was I'm remembering conversations that were okay.
I was right. I just had a moment where I thought I was wrong and I didn't want to be that guy.
Oh.
When I think of Steen, I think of the Seek and Destroy Metallica version.
Which is right after the Crow. Right, that's fair. That's fair.
Because I still was in my infancy when the Crow Steen was a thing.
Yes, true.
By the time I became a full-on fan, he was Wolfpack Steen. And then kind of cycled into Seek and Destroy. So I probably wouldn't have even recognized the Crow theme. Except for being on like some CDs that I had.
Right. Seek and Destroy was good for him though. I think okay, let me rephrase.
But considering WWE and all their Metallica licenses,
yeah,
they probably could have pulled that too. I mean, they've used For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yep.
They were able to get Sandman for One Night Stand.
Yep. I finally saw the clip of Sandman entering a One Night Stand unedited about a week and a half ago, and I'm like, God damn, is it so much better to have it uninhibited, unedited, and we all know what Enter Sandman sounds like, and if we don't, we should at this stage of our lives and our wrestling fandom. But to be able to hear it and to know what the people watching on pay-per-view that night, because I did watch that show live, but I only got to see it once. Didn't VCR record it because I was still a thing back in 2005, and get it on tape. I do remember seeing it playing at Rob's store, especially when Sandman was there and they were playing highlights or whatever. But I think what ended up happening was I was gonna buy a burned DVD of the show. That way I had the original Sandman entrance. I actually think I did buy one at one point. I don't know where the hell it is now, but it was Metallica being on our wrestling brain imprint forever is something. Seek and Destroy, I think the music fits Sting. I don't know if the lyrics necessarily really went with Sting, but the music definitely. It was just I mean, it just kicks the ass. You're forgiven, Josh. We all been sleeping in this week. It's been a sleep in type of week. You're forgiven today, brother. It's okay. Just don't sleep in tomorrow because we will find you and we will make sure you pay for it.
Well, he's already messaged me that he probably won't be there for one open mic night. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're forgiven for the rest of the weekend and into Monday because I won't be here Monday anyway. So.
Caper says another one of his dream matches is Jake versus Orton. See, I love Jake, don't get me wrong. But I think Randy would mop the floor with him, even Jake in his prime. What I've always wanted from Jake is just a war of the words between him and Raven.
Yes. Definitely.
Like, they could just be the advocate for whoever is going to fight. That way they don't even have to get physical in the ring. And if they do, originator of the DDT versus the even flow DDT.
Yep.
But just to hear them cut their promos.
Yeah.
With the darkness that they always bring into.
Oh, yeah.
Jake never raised his voice. Raven did.
Yes, he did.
Jake never raised his voice. So he always had the cooler head, which tends to lead me to believe that he would ruffle Scott's feathers in the promo.
Right.
But if Raven was able to keep his composure in there against Jake and neither one of them raised their voices.
Right. Yeah. I think, and this is me assuming or me imprinting a belief on somebody, forgive me. I think Jake versus Randy was mentioned because we got to see Jake RKO Randy RKO Jake in the build to WrestleMania with Undertaker. Because Jake was on,
which I was there for,
highlight reel. I think is what it was. Jericho brought Randy out for highlight reel, and he brought Jake out as a surprise. So, like I said, Jake the Snake Roberts in his prime, I think, it's another one of those guys that, man, if he just never touched the bottle, oh my goodness, this would have been something.
Still haven't watched it, Mansfield.
Yeah, I him in the car. Yeah, again, this is sort of a blanket statement. We do appreciate, or I appreciate the fandom. I appreciate the audience. I appreciate everybody that watches our stuff. Sometimes I wonder if they, and I'm not singling that because Josh made the comment. It just, I think about this a lot. I sometimes wonder if people really fully understand that when we turn these cameras off, we don't just go into the next work thing and just get ready for, in this case, an anniversary tomorrow or Mike Night tomorrow, or things like that. There are so many things going on, and I don't think even we ourselves really let our. And this may be a human being thing, it may be us thing, it may be a me thing. I don't know. I don't think we. I don't think I let myself fully acknowledge everything that's on the plate. Thank you. Everything that's on my plate at once. So that when I do sit back and go, God damn, that's a hefty meal. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, what do I eat first? Or what kind of combination do I make? So I truthfully did not remember he had made that comment about the Ahsoka trailer because I was so dog-ass tired, and he will vouch for it. He saw it happen right in front of his face. Mm-hmm. Twice, as a matter of fact. Well, once was in front of his face. He was in the can, but I fell asleep maybe a half hour after we got back from Disneyland the other night. And I'm so tired, I can't sleep on his futon worth a spit. We were rewatching the car stream back. Next thing I know, it's 2:00 in the morning. I have somehow passed out from exhaustion on that futon. I don't know how I got there. I remember the act of curling up and into the position I was in. So I'll tell you what, it is 4:09. Giddy up, Josh. If you know that reference, you're cool with us. I will watch that trailer as soon as we get off this stream, because I am very invested in Ahsoka. I do love that they're bringing her back as a fully realized character and not just an animated version or the cameos we've seen on Mando or whichever show it was. I'm pretty sure it was Mando. And I have a long history with the lady behind the original Ahsoka voice, and Ashley Eckstein, the dear friend of the family, and her husband. It's just been so cool to see that character finally get that resurgence, because Ahsoka Tano is so freaking a cool character, and I'm here for it. So, and yes, I'm part of the magic. Yes, I'm shilling even right now as I'm sitting on the air. It's not one of our shirts, but it has the letters. You know what this is. I'm here for it. And are we talking about the show the other night? Because that was a dad stream for both of us.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I was puzzled as to what made Mansfield think it was Meech's musings when very clearly it said the dads.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because I talk for most of it.
Well, some of us have to keep our eyes on the road so we don't die.
Yes, dying would be a little bit, other than Roddy Piper's belief that dying in the air is good for business. Not in that case, Roddy.
Yeah.
Not in that case.
Speaking of Piper, Max would get murdered in a battle with Piper.
I love Max, but yeah.
Me too. MJF is one of the things that I enjoy tuning into on a regular basis for AEW. I think the only person active on today's roster who would come close is Punk.
Yes.
And Punk would still lose in a promo battle for Piper.
Yeah. Roddy
would come close, but he would still lose.
Yeah, there is.
Because just when Punk thought he had all the answers, Piper would change the questions.
And you know what? As much as that intrigues me, and again, I only wouldn't pair them as a program because there'd be no family blow off, or there'd be no in-ring blow off. Roddy versus Heyman. Like, if I knew that Roddy was representing somebody and it wasn't Roddy having to get the payoff, like Roddy representing fill in the blank versus Heyman representing either Brock or Roman, man, just Roddy has to be seconding somebody pretty big. Don't get me wrong, but either way, if you've got Roddy as one mouth and Paul Heyman as the other mouth, the other side of the ring, take my savings. Because, man, you and I were just watching Paulie randomly on a podcast just do Paulie things, right?
And a podcast that we can show for because he doesn't have the reputation of being toxic in the IWC. And
Sam Roberts.
Sam Roberts podcast.
Sam Roberts, that's right. Sam Roberts. And I forgot about that part of the story you was talking about the radio show that he was supposed to get Hot 93. He was supposed to go against Howard Stern. Hot 97, excuse me, in 1993.
This is a notorious hip-hop station.
And he threw it out there, and I totally forgot. Who's doing Hot 97 now? Peter Rosenberg. You talk about a guy I want to see Paul light up like a Christmas tree. Please do that to Rosenberg. My God. But Piper, people, I can't encourage people enough, and I know you'll agree. Piper promos need to be must see, must view for any fan, for any aspiring wrestler who wants to do more than put on a pair of boots and trunks and just do the wrestling. If you need to know how to cut an effective promo, just watch Roddy. Just watch classic, like, mid-'80s Nate.
I was going to say, watch some Crockett era Horseman promos.
Yeah. If you
even Ole, who was the weakest on the mic, still got his point across and was made to look good in those Horseman promos.
Yep. Ole himself said, I come out and do a lot of hollering and screaming. It's not what we're about. He didn't need to. You get Ole worked up. He'll yell at you and cuss a blue streak at you. Because Ole's an asshole. But the Horseman and Roddy just, wow. Let's just knock all the microphones in the room. Let's just do that. Miz, Max, Piper, and Punk.
On the Grayson Waller effect.
Dude, them Punkers don't handle so much heat, brother. Like, seriously. And that's...
I'm making her return to the company, Vicky Guerrero, just so we can hear her come out going, excuse me.
And then one of them going, there's no excuse for you. Get back to the back. And she's... Yeah, I loved one year when I posted a happy heavenly birthday message for Roddy and said, "Save a spot in the pit for me." And Mikey came back with, "Man, what a Mike Bell that would be." It's like, man, I would love to be able to try to hold my own with Roddy, but I know better than that.
For real.
Roddy's much better to have as your promo ally than he is to have as your promo enemy by a lot. So I ain't touching that.
And considering he wanted to be my tag team partner,
I was gonna say, man, in a different era, it would be something. All right. What we got next? I'm good to go for some more. Like, whatever. Let's do the things.
Do we think Owen would have made a good WWF champion? This is something we talk about often.
Yeah.
I think Owen would have.
Yeah.
I think Owen would have been a great Mick Foley champion.
Yes. Yes.
The guy you can give the belt to, run it for a little bit, get the first down, pass it on to whoever else.
Yep.
I don't think Owen would have made a good Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, The Rock, Roman Reigns, John Cena type of champion. He's not going to be your face of the company.
Right.
He's your Sergeant Slaughter, your Ultimate Warrior. He's your Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
He's your Jack Swagger.
Yes.
Your Daniel Bryan. Your Sheamus. Nothing against any of those guys. Some of them can't even hold a candle to Owen. Some of them would be great matches for Owen. But he would be in that name group when it comes to being a champion. You look at their title reigns. You look at how very few of them went past 6 months.
Yes.
And I think that would have been Owen as champion.
Yeah, I personally would have. See, it's so hard to look back and think about, changing, pull that thread, how many threads break out of butterfly effect style. But 1994 Owen as the WWF champion.
Yeah, have him beat Brett in the cage.
Yes.
And then he can be the one to lose it to Diesel.
Yeah. If done right,
instead of Owen screwing Brett, giving it to Backlund for that 24-hour reign.
Correct.
Just let Owen beat Brett in the cage. Owen lose the belt to Diesel.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, because there's not really a whole lot of other things that would be affected by that threat. I don't think anyway. Because they never really went anywhere with the family battle. No. After the cage match. They had Bulldog brought back. They had Neidhart already involved, but the best we got was tag matches on the Action Zone or some shit. Like, okay, cool. But Owen being a heel champion, if we don't get the submission match, we end up getting that where Brett lost it to Bob Backlund, you already had the seed planted for Diesel and Shawn breaking up because of the kick that cost Diesel the title, Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. Yes, the final straw across that big Detroit back was Survivor Series and the miscue. But I think maybe what you do is you have Owen, same booking you have already in place. Instead of Owen versus whoever it was, or Brett versus Backlund, you have Brett versus Owen at Survivor Series in some rematch or another, whatever the case may have been. And Brett barely loses, but injures Owen enough where Brett versus Backlund was the original booked match for the Garden 3 days after the Survivor Series where Backlund became champion. That's where you get Diesel involved. So maybe Owen retains over a championship contender on the babyface side of things in some sort of match. But in the process of retaining the title, Owen as the heel is so beat to shit that's how Diesel takes the 8-second advantage at the Garden 3 days later.
Mm-hmm. And then even in 97, hot off of breaking Austin's neck.
Yeah.
Give him the strap again. Then you don't have Montreal.
Right.
Or even still, you have him win it. You let Brett do what he wanted to do.
Mhm.
Okay, now we're going to some really deep shit because we're talking about the screw job.
Right.
You let Brett have what he wanted. The Survivor Series match against Shawn ends in a schmoz.
Right.
Brett comes out the next night on Raw, surrenders the title.
Mhm.
They make a match on Raw that evening. Shawn Michaels versus Owen Hart.
Okay.
Owen gets the belt. You've already got Shawn doing his DX stuff. You've already got Shawn doing what he's doing. Then, when Austin is ready, you've got Austin versus Owen at Mania to launch the Austin era. Not only get the belt and ascend to his throne, but he gets vengeance on the man who broke his neck.
I like that. Because yeah, he won the Intercontinental title back from Owen at Survivor Series, but he dropped it to The Rock a month
And then
and a
Brett
day
goes
later.
to WCW on good terms with the company.
Yep.
After he gets kicked in the head by Goldberg, he can come back without all of the pettiness that had gone down. You know, Brett screwed Brett.
Yep.
Shawn isn't as vilely hated in Canada for 15 years.
Yeah. That's a good question. That's good stuff. I like that because we went good stuff. I definitely think Owen is probably the top of the list of goddamn what could have been for WWF champion.
Yes.
I really think that.
Going on to that, is there a wrestler you guys thought had all the talent in the world, but never came close to living up to that potential?
Ken Anderson, Ken Kennedy. Even if he was Impact World Champion.
I was going to say he was a multi-time Impact champion.
And again, we're covering Sun Wrestling tomorrow, and I like the company and I like that it's still around, but Ken should have been the WWE champion. That's where the potential is lost on me. And I'm not trying to purposely undersell the value of the Impact brand or the World Championship that is being held by Alex Shelley, and again, and deserving as hell. Ken should have been the WWE champion, or even the World Heavyweight Big Gold Belt champion. He should have been that guy in that company.
Well, I'm going to see your Kennedy since he was world champion in Impact. And I'm going to raise you with somebody who had his greatest run over there and still couldn't get the brass ring. The alpha male Monty Brown.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with that. Potential for days, just never got there.
He wasn't going to get it in the WWE, especially being pigeonholed into that shit-ass ECW.
Right.
But the alpha male Monty Brown should have been NWA champion.
Monty Brown should have been champion where Rhino was champion, even for that 2 days.
Or
Absolutely.
even where Raven got it. Don't get me wrong. I love me Raven. I think his story and his quest for the NWA title was great.
Yeah.
But Monty had been putting in the work for a minute.
I understand that.
And I feel like Raven's reign didn't last all that long.
No, didn't.
That could have been Monty. And I'll even go as far as to maybe say Truth's second reign. His first reign taking it off of Shamrock, yeah, Truth needed that.
Yes.
His second reign could have been Monty's. Again, not that long. You take those 3 reigns combined, give it to Monty Brown.
That's a solid NWA World Title run, yeah. I would say Monty tops that list, yeah, because not tops the list right now. It just I'll go and acknowledge the chat, even though again, Mark Merrow, another one of those guys that I just dumped on in the past, and I think at the time it was deserved, and I think now that Mark has got himself properly aligned in the universe as it will. I
don't know if he was ever going to be world champion, though. I definitely think he probably deserved another IC title run after he had broken off with Sable and was doing the thing with Jackie.
Yeah.
And maybe him and Jackie could have both had belts at the same time.
True.
Would have been a cool little thing to see visually on TV. but I don't think Mero was ever going to be world champion.
I think Johnny B. Bad would have been a decent WCW world champion in that time. But no, hang on, because you weren't watching, and I
know,
understand
but
that.
I just flashed back to the Little Richard shtick, and I'm like,
well, no, yeah, but yeah,
Little Richard with that big gold belt strapped around his waist.
Well, okay, but okay, hang on, because he was television champion. I definitely think he could have been U.S. champion, but just think about. Let's just say, again, we're going to pull a big old thread out of the loop here. Let's say Hogan doesn't jump over there. And yeah, they're not getting your attention on their product, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Hogan was champion for 15 months. Just kind of bullshit. Hulkamaniac, admit that. But there were, and even when he left, Mark as Johnny was starting to kind of evolve into a different character. Still with the Johnny B. Bad name, but I think that had Johnny B. Bad stuck around long term, he would have been in the discussion for it, because the guy got over in spite of the initial pigeonholing of that gimmick. He got over in a hurry.
If somebody could have been WCW champion during that time frame, and I think it connects up again, I wasn't watching back then, I would have given it to Cactus.
Yeah, I'll agree with that more than Johnny. Absolutely. Yeah.
Between the feuds with Steen and Vader and everything, like Cactus should have had it. Again, even if it was just for that first down run like Mankind had for the WWF belt.
Yeah.
Cactus Jack should have been one of the main champions at some point in his career.
Absolutely.
Foley himself, yes, has held the belts as Mankind, but Cactus Jack was never WCW champion, never ECW champion, and never WWE champion. And Cactus Jack is arguably the most over gimmick he had.
Agreed.
Yes, people loved Mankind too, but it took him pulling a Fruit of the Loom sock out of his tidy whities to, get over and being thrown off of the top of the cell. No cape rare, that's a bad cape rare.
No. Brutus, we're far enough in. I haven't used one of these yet today. The only reason Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake was the world champ, or was even in sniffing range of the Winged Eagle or the Big Gold, is because he was Hulk Hogan's buddy. He wasn't in the business itself if it wasn't for Hogan. Period. End of sentence. Ed Leslie became a professional wrestler because he sought the advice of Terry Bollea. And Terry got him into, I think it was either Continental or Memphis with him.
That's a hot take. What do you think about that? I mean, I am not Wayne Honky Tonk Man's biggest fan.
No.
Think about the length of his Intercontinental title run, which we're hoping that Walter Gunther will pass.
Yes.
Should Honky have at least been pushed harder in the main event picture after losing the IC title?
I'll agree with the main event push being more significant, but I don't think they ever should have pulled that trigger of putting that belt around his waist. No.
What about instead of Sarge? Like, again, I understand why they gave it to Sarge, but instead of doing the Sergeant Slaughter thing, what about giving that run to Honky Tonk Man hot off of that run?
Well, I think timing and context are both king in the discussion, because Sergeant Slaughter was the end of 1990 into 91. Honky was already gone at that point, or he was definitely on his way out. He and Vince couldn't come to an agreement at that point. He actually was in WCW, I think, by 91, maybe even 92. It was just it wasn't happening. Fresh off the IC run, again, context and timing are king. Randy's the world champion. They're going to build the Randy and Hogan. It's going to be a thing. They're going to build to Hogan and somebody else at WrestleMania 6. I don't think Honky by WrestleMania 6 was strong enough to be in that challenger role. And again, they book him a little bit differently. They don't book him to get squashed by the Warrior in 88. Maybe he's still in the discussion. Maybe the title reign goes even longer. I don't know. But I don't think that, and again, this isn't purposely knocking Wayne Ferris. I'm not a big fan of him or Honky, the character. I just don't think that an Elvis impersonator is a strong enough champion to be a character to be the WWF World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, Cody and Ted both after Legacy, without a doubt, because they damn near flatlined after Legacy broke up. Teddy got the $1 million belt from his dad
and Virgil,
and it became a story of,
because we had to make him relevant again.
That didn't happen anyway. Good old show, whatever it is, Jones, Mike Jones, whatever the fuck his stupid name was, the show not Showbo, but whatever, doesn't matter. I think Teddy had that potential. Cody, we know, does, because he ended up being a world champion down the line. It's not WWE yet, much to his believer Joe Hendry's chagrin. Daniels being champion Ring of Honor, I think, was perfect for Daniels. I don't think, and again,
you don't think he should have defeated AJ?
I've thought about this a lot, and I legitimately had discussions with a lot of people about Chris being the TNA/NWA era TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And I think of the three, and I'm referring to him and Joe and AJ, he's the least likely candidate for me. I am not knocking on Chris. I love Chris. Chris knows I love Chris to this day. I just never saw him as the NWA/TNA, that championship separate, World Heavyweight Champion. I completely bought into him being Ring of Honor champion. Founding father of Ring of Honor, one of those guys that was there at the beginning, definitely deserved to be a Triple Crown Ring of Honor champion, and he got there. He was only in WWE as a jobber at best, so definitely don't want him there. And the same thing in AEW. Him and Sky, at the point they were at in their career, and Frankie as well. Him and Sky and Frankie, he's still the least likely for me to be the top guy. I always saw Frankie as a world champion, and it guts at my shit that he never was, and probably won't be at this point. But Sky, I think he cooled off a little too long between TNT loss and now when he's coming back. I think if he'd come back a little sooner, the world title discussion would be much more poignant and much more believable.
I think he needed to get that stench of being with Ethan Page and Dan Lambert off of him.
I agree, but I think at this point he's a little bit too cooled off. Thank you. The one above that, by the way, is another. See, world champion?
No.
Limited to his potential? I think Sean hit his potential. I really do. He gets, the rub or the knock of the acknowledgement or whatever from Eric Bischoff and everybody else. He was the first to jump back. That was a high-profile name. And Eric Bischoff, and again, I'm not trying to smooch the booty of Eric Bischoff here, but goddamn it, I can't help myself when he says shit like this. Eric said that Sean Waltman crossing back over when he did made DX stay relevant. Hard to argue. And I don't think DX is near as cool if Sean doesn't return to WWF in 1998. Yeah, you have Hunter. Yeah, you got the Outlaws who were being groomed by Shawn Michaels and Triple H to be part of DX in the first place. You got Hunter, you got the Outlaws, you got Joni, you got China with them. I don't think they have that, pardon the gross pun here. They don't have the X factor of Sean Waltman. Kind of not as cool without X factor. So I think Sean most definitely reached his potential without a doubt.
And I mean, the fact that he was light heavyweight champion, cruiserweight champion, X division champion, as well as having, European champion.
Yep.
Tag champion.
Yep. I would say potential reach, and I don't think him being a world champion is that definition of Sean Waltman's potential. Who's a wrestler that got pushed to the moon and never really deserved the push? For me, I always think of Sheamus. Here we go, because Eddie's going to agree with you. When he first came on the scene and the whole match, I agree with it too. I do.
I definitely agree with Sheamus. I'm going to say a name here that everyone knows I don't like, but it might be a controversial take on this. Batista.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too.
I agree. The whole crumbling of evolution, push with Triple H, okay, I can get behind that. Virtually everything that came afterwards, no.
Yeah. Yep. All you have to do. Yeah, I think. See, again, this is where the threads get pulled. I think the wrong evolution defection got the long program.
Yeah, because it should have been Orton. Orton just wasn't mentally prepared at his age.
No, he wasn't prepared to have that role, and he certainly wasn't prepared to be a babyface in that role by any stretch of the fucking imagination at all. No way was babyface Randy Orton going to sustain a long program with anybody. Wasn't going to happen because it wasn't him. He didn't believe it in himself. Oh, I'm so glad Cape Rayer 23 is on my bandwagon about the Warrior, because God darn it, that guy gets. And again, I know he was a father of two when he passed, and it was tragic, and it sucked for his family and for the people that had forgiven him and he'd forgiven for his transgressions. But man, 1988 Ultimate Warrior, up until he returned to A Hero's Welcome, just sucked. He was awful. He was an awful professional wrestler. He was a passable sports entertainer because the entrance was kick ass. And then the bell rang. He is the original and the bell rang. So yeah, definitely got pushed way too hard and did not deserve a damn bit of it. Right. You're talking about Batista, yeah. And again, I've never met Dave. I hear different things about Dave. I just don't think that the payoff in the moment, him being the champion, as bad as that match was, closing the show at that, I just, without Hunter, he didn't really thrive very well.
No.
He had to have Hunter. He had to have Cena. A world championship. He had to have Taker. He had Eddie toward the end of Eddie's life. The world champion should be the one that elevates others, not having to lean on others like a crutch.
Yeah.
And Dave did that with.
Another one I must say, Luger.
Yeah. Yeah. Lex got pushed so hard, so fast in Crockett and in the WWF because of his look. His skill set was marginal at best. And again, this is not me digging on Larry Clawful. How say Lex's last name. But Lex Luger just, if anybody didn't deserve to be a horseman, even more than Paul Roma, God damn it, I said it and I mean it. Lex Luger was just not that guy. He had no designs on being a team player first, like the Horseman always did. That's the key there.
I'm going to dispute JBL here.
I am too. Yeah. Go ahead.
Because while I do agree with this comment about he shouldn't have been world champ that long,
yeah,
Bradshaw was a hell of a utility player.
Yep.
And he deserved that, we'll call it the Lifetime Achievement Award run as champion.
Much like Foley's.
I still think he should have been champion back in 01-02. Go back and watch the promo he cut on that September 13th, 2001 SmackDown right after the bombings of 9/11.
Yep.
That Bradshaw I wanted to be champion.
Right.
We got Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist, our American hero. Awesome. Deserved it.
Yep.
If anybody else had filled that void, should have been that Bradshaw.
Yep. And I think
he didn't even get it for 3 years later.
No.
I do agree to the long reign. Shouldn't have had it, but they needed to build Cena.
Yep.
When Bradshaw won it, Cena wasn't ready.
Yeah.
He needed that conditioning to get there.
And there wasn't a strong enough heel other than Angle on the SmackDown brand to do it. And Angle was in the feud with Eddie because of the loss to Bradshaw. So yeah, it's
That's an interesting take because I wasn't watching back then.
Yeah.
What was it essentially? Andre syndrome, and what I mean by that is you looked at his size and how can Hogan stop him? It only made sense for him to knock off Brett, knock off Hogan.
Yeah. So I don't think Yoko's push was too fast. I think here's where I get really freaking contemplative and about my own brain here. Hogan should have never been the champion in '93. Should have been a thing. And I think we can all universally agree on that at this point.
I think Terry, looking back at it now, would be like, that was a bad look.
Bad call. Bad company call there. I think Yoko had being champion for a year flat would have been just fine, honestly. I think what happened with Yoko's doing this run is, even though he regained it pretty short order and was champion for almost an entire year, I think Rodney's inability to handle the fame is what derailed Yoko. I don't think he was pushed too fast. I just think he couldn't keep up with the level of fame and the access he had to everything, especially the food, is what did him in. It wasn't pushed too fast. He wasn't pushed too fast. Yoko was perfect in that role. Because Brett had been a fighting champion, and it was mentioned in commentary several times in that championship match at Caesars that Brett had run himself ragged as the fightingest WWF champion in recent memory. And it wasn't a freaking marketing tool. It was the God's honest truth. That guy wrestled every day of the week that he was champion. He was Ric Flair after Ric Flair had stopped being Ric Flair full time. He was wrestling every single night of the week. He was doing all the TV shows. He was making the 4 pay-per-views a year, 5 if you can't get in the ring. He ran himself ragged for that first however long it was between October and April.
King Mike, are you saying that Nikki Ash got pushed too fast? Please clarify for me, because I don't know if I agree with that. I think just want to make sure I'm understanding you properly.
If you want to say Nikki Cross didn't hit potential, I'll agree with that. Because I think she's an incredible talent.
And we'll be talking about her a little bit tomorrow on Open Mic Night.
We will indeed. She's definitely in the discussion pool. There's a lot of people I think that should know. Oh, here we go. Here's a big list. There we go. I like that.
But see, they're not making it clear. Okay, thank you. Didn't hit potential. Y'all need to please make it clear, because we're talking about people that got pushed too fast right now.
Right.
And I'm seeing these names get thrown up there, and I'm like, John Morrison did not get pushed too fast. So that's why I'm like, please clarify.
Yeah.
If you don't think John Morrison hit his potential, I agree with you on that.
100% agree with that.
For that comment to pop up while we're talking about people that got pushed to the moon too fast and didn't deserve it, I'm like,
no, Morrison's not that guy. The long one did. No. The long one did say pushed at the end of the comment. That's why I put it up there. So
Nikki ASH, yes, I don't think she has hit her potential yet. Now that she's back to being the psychotic Nikki Cross, give her some time.
Right.
Give her some time. She's been a little bit MIA lately.
Yeah.
We'll go into reasons about that on Open Mic Night tomorrow as we discuss her.
Right.
But give her some time. Honestly, I want to see Sarah Logan, Valhalla, get away from the Viking Raiders and have Nikki ASH and her be a tag team.
There you go. I like that.
But yes, Mabel
Okay.
Billy Gunn and Jinder Mahal, I agree with you there. Billy Gunn was on the rocket ship, getting launched into the stratosphere, and then The Rock cut his promo.
Right. Thank you.
And Billy went to shit. And dare I say, some 24 years later, he still hasn't recovered from it.
I would say that's a combination of the two answers to the questions. Who didn't hit their potential enough and who got pushed too fast? Billy got pushed down our throats, and then The Rock cut him off at the knees.
I wouldn't say that he got pushed too fast. DX had just broken up. Billy had basically defeated DX in the King of the Ring tournament, and he was poised to be the next main eventer.
Okay, that's fair.
Then he came toe to toe. The Rock cut his promo on him.
Yeah.
And 25 years later, Billy has not recovered.
Fair.
He had to be the one Billy Gunn. Didn't get over. They did the DX 2000 thing with K-Quick, Road Dogg, Billy, and China.
That didn't work. Yeah.
Didn't work.
No.
Billy and Chuck, so he had to be gay to get over.
But he wasn't going to be the world champion with that gimmick, so yeah.
And then, the VKM in Impact. So now we're just being a petty ass.
Right. A petty ass, Mr. Ass.
Petty ass, Mr. Ass.
That's right. Petty ass.
Now he's daddy ass.
Yeah. He
Billy Gunn is one of those major what if stories. Maybe we can get Disney Plus to do an episode of what if for Billy Gunn.
Yeah. Quite a few of those on the list.
Real.
But yeah.
Jinder Mahal is another one. Me and Jeff were talking about him the other night because
we were talking earlier too, yeah.
Because I put him in the same category that I put Ron Simmons, WCW champion.
Yeah.
They literally drew Farouk's name out of a hat. And people tout him as one of the greatest WCW champions of all time. And then you look at Jinder Mahal, and people tout him as one of the worst champions of all time.
Right.
And it's like, bro, you realize they're cut from the same cookie cutter, right?
Well, but like I pointed out earlier, we were talking about that. It's, the timing and context on those are everything. Jinder Mahal became WWE champion in the social media age where everybody that has an opinion and the ability to type 280 characters or less can get their point across. I disagree with that 100%.
I was going to say, I disagree with that. You want to talk about a woman who got pushed too much? Charlotte fucking Flair.
Yeah. When Alexa became the WWE Women's Champion the first time, I think it was on Raw. It may be on Smackdown. I don't know. Greg and Jen posted a thing on my timeline. The Queen is dead. Long live Alexa Bliss. And it's like, at the time, it's like, nah, but you know what? I will always be a Charlotte Flair fan. I make no apologies for that shit.
I was going to say, you want to talk about someone who got pushed to the moon and didn't fucking deserve it. Charlotte Flair.
No. I agree with, and I agree with it because of how things have evolved over the last 8 years. Today, by the way, that her and Becky and Sasha made the main roster debuts, for what it's worth. Today is the anniversary of that on Monday Night Raw. And we're going to SmackDown tonight. But Alexa Bliss is the complete opposite. She didn't get pushed near as she should, and she's been misused 99 times out of 100 ever since.
Yeah, I would say, and granted, I was just barely getting back into it.
Right.
But the Alexa Bliss doing the Firefly Funhouse shit in Bray's absence, leading into the match with Randy Orton, was fucking Raw MVP level shit.
It was so good
because she was carrying that storyline with Randy in Bray's absence.
Yep.
She deserved to get more.
Yeah. Going back to the one earlier about me. Oh, okay. But
that's an interesting one because, and I'm going to say no,
No, I agree.
Because of how many times he had to get repackaged.
Yep.
He was a head shrinker. He was the Sultan with a freaking hideous mask.
He was a street champion.
Then he was Rikishi.
Yeah.
And the whole Too Cool thing got him over.
Mm-hmm.
The I did it for The Rock killed him, and he never recovered.
No.
He had to get back with Scotty to try to get back over again.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the same success they did when they were a trio, because by then Brian Christopher had succumbed to his demons and was, main eventing World Wrestling All-Star Tours, because there's a World Heavyweight Championship contender, right, Double J? Love you, happy birthday, but come on.
Yeah, no. It is.
That was a sacrifice bunt.
Yeah. Rikishi didn't become a main event level player in any company until 15 years or something into his career. That wasn't a push. That was I'm dragging him through the mud trying to keep him from moving forward anymore. I get across multiple gimmicks. Yeah. Or best couldn't catch a break if it freaking car in front of him's brakes went out. As far as Mabel earlier, I don't think he got pushed too fast. You have to remember stuff in about 1995 WWF. Since done completely cut the ankles out of their top heel after WrestleMania by having Shawn Michaels give Sid the night off and Sid Powerbomb Oblivion, and they go with Sid as the contender instead. It's like, no, you've got money on the table. You've got this workhorse pulling this wagon to be your guy, and you just freaking torpedoed it. Shawn being a babyface throughout the rest of 95, the sympathetic stuff with the problems he had, going into 96, whether he was really attacked or not, whatever, and then becoming a babyface world champion for his first run. This may be a hotter take in a lot of stuff I've ever said in 20 years. Shawn Michaels' first WWF Championship run was just a mess. And it started the year before when he was demanded to be a babyface by the company. That point of time between In Your House, July of 95, until he got hurt and lost his smile, I think was his worst year of his career. And he was world champion for most of it.
I still think it was the wrong move for him to lose to Diesel at Mania.
Yes.
After just being the first to go from 1 to winning the Rumble.
Yeah. Yep.
He should have beaten Diesel with that momentum.
Yeah, he should have. So, but anyway, get back to 95, that Mabel just was the means to an end just to get a pay-per-view main event. But Shawn and Razor were both such good baby faces. They had to put them against each other in a ladder match rematch. I saw that comment earlier as we were going through stuff. Josh, you were in the same boat as Angry Miz Girl in 2010, 2011. But you will never, ever hear me say that Mike Mazzan doesn't deserve exactly everything he's gotten and everything
and then some,
and then everything he's now acquired as far as success, as far as a happy life, as far as a fucking hot ass wife and 2 beautiful children. Mike Mazzan,
only a 2-time champion. I think he should at least be a 3 or a 4 at this point.
Yeah.
In the span of his run.
Yep. Mike Mazzan's one of those guys.
He was there in 2010. He was there before that because he was in WWE CW. So he was there in like 06, 07.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves a couple more title runs under his belt.
Yep.
As does Truth.
Yes.
But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
I will die on that hill. Our Truth should have defeated John Cena at Capital Punishment.
Ooh, that's a hot one. You
were never going to find him any better than he was at that moment.
I know.
And he was the heel.
Yeah.
again, even if he defeats him at Capital Punishment and loses it in that tables match that we were there for at the end of June, so that we can still go into Punk and Cena.
Yeah.
At least he was champion for once.
Exactly.
But that heel R-Truth going into that pay-per-view with the little Jimmy shtick and everything, man.
Yep.
Once that dried up, and I would even say in the midst of that, Truth went from being serious heel to joke and has never recovered.
Nope. I agree with that. And I think that's a good way to part company, because we want to be good plugs, and that we got to be off by 5 anyway. So,
all right, that's fair. All right, let me pull that back down. I didn't mean to tap that.
Now you're good. And Josh, really quickly, I'll answer Morrison over Truth, I think. But you know what? In 2011, I say Truth, because what Jay said. 2010, either or, really.
But yeah, so make sure you guys tune in tomorrow once again for our Slammiversary coverage, which will be immediately followed by Open Mic Night.
Yes.
Open Mic Night is going to be probably a long one this week.
Well,
just because coming straight out of Slammiversary, we're going to have to touch on who won the Owen.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, we don't do spoilers, and we still request no spoilers posted in the chat room.
Please.
But it is something that's going to have to be discussed on Open Mic Night.
Right.
So we will get there, but please, let's let the boys do what they need to do.
I agree.
Also going to be discussing Battle of the Belts, I'm sure, especially if anything changes hands.
Yep.
Generally, it doesn't on that show, but, you know, surprises can occur.
That's right.
We've got a few other topics that are set up. And then next week, we've got Blood and Guts.
Yep.
We've
go ahead.
I was going to say, we've got the 31 Days of Disney stuff still going across the channel. We've got the Renegades Wrestling Reviews over in the members only section, $5 a month. You can see my thoughts on Capital Punishment.
There you go.
On From Secret to Sensation. On from NXT's Greatest Matches. Next week will be the best of NXT 2017.
Nice. That's what we're talking
about.
We
need to get together to film our call of WrestleMania 21 Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yes, sir.
Be looking starting Monday for the polls to go up as to which SummerSlam match we're going to call.
Okay.
Got quite a few to sort through. I think what I'm going to do is all the ones that only got suggested once, I'm just going to throw out.
That makes sense.
The ones that got repeat choices mentions are going to be the ones that people get to vote on.
Yeah, it makes the most sense to me, man.
Because I posted in 4 different groups.
Yeah, right on,
asking
brother.
For people's suggestions of what their favorite SummerSlam match was.
Yes.
Not what they thought the greatest was.
What's your favorite?
Their favorite.
What is your favorite match? And
threw it up there on Twitter also. Nobody responded on Twitter.
Yeah, well, but keep in mind, the voting on the polls is only if you're a member of that community and you get access to that poll. Otherwise, you don't get to make your choice.
Exactly.
And if you're in that group, make the choice, because then you're stuck with it if you watch it. So
that's right. And if you don't watch it because you're not subscribed, then subscribe.
And if you don't vote and you don't like the choice that was made, you can't complain because you didn't vote. Right, voters? Every 4 years? God damn it. Anyway. Oh my goodness. Look at this.
Now, is this one actually going to be on the air, or is it going to get canceled again? I'm just kidding.
Right. Oh God. What a week this has been. Some bullshit. It better go up. It's the anniversary show, right? Yeah, God, 16 years of this show. It's crazy that talk wrestling's a thing in 2023. It's crazy that it was 15 years last year. It's crazy we're still going with this show. I'm not gonna make any, bold, brush, like I'm gonna bring a bunch of guests. Like last year was just happenstance. It was wonderful. Like we got Frankie in, then we got everybody that we got in for the anniversary shows over the years. It's just we're gonna do talk wrestling. It's gonna be after it's gonna be before a major AEW show. It's gonna be after a major Impact show. We've got WWE SummerSlam coming up. We got Great American Bash coming up. It is going to be one of those open forum situations. You guys ask me what you want to ask me. We'll prefer a super chat, not going to lie. But at the end of the day, I'm going on Talk Wrestling Tuesday and just going to let the questions come, and I will answer them as they may. Also, keep in mind, like tonight, if you ask me a question, I'm still on the previous topic, make sure you know this is a new question. Or if I go back to something, or I need to go back to something, let me know. But I love it. I love the fact that I get to do this show. I love the fact that I get to be part of it. Note to everybody that would be watching Meet the Musings if I did do it this Monday. There will be no show this Monday because I will once again be at Happiest Place on Earth for its 68th birthday, which is crazy. Disneyland is turning 68 on Monday. There are very few places, and they talk about this in the Mickey documentary, that Mickey is something that connects us all together. I think the park itself is too. I think Disneyland is just one of those places that everybody's got something that they remember about it when they've been there, and more often than not, it's a memory that brings a happy tear or a smile. So looking forward to Monday more than I was before, to be honest with you.
There you go. So thank you everybody for joining us and tuning in today. Thank you for having us go 2 hours.
Yeah, I love it.
I was not expecting that.
Nor was I, yeah.
But kind of fun. We hope you guys enjoy SmackDown or Rampage, whichever poison you choose.
Yes.
Make sure you guys once again tune in tomorrow for our coverage of Slammiversary.
Yeah, baby.
My open mic night. And until next time, we will catch y'all later.
Have a good night, folks. Have a good Friday night. Stay out there. Stay safe. And if you're out here by us, stay hydrated because goddamn, it's hot. Subscribe to those channels, kids. Give them some love. You want to.